And here we go. Wily's stages are getting set to begin, and there's the trademark Doc waggling his eyebrows routine. It's okay though, in T-minus 4 stages, I think he's going to be doing the traditional groveling at her feet routine instead. And that's just fine with me. As we take a look at one of the more memorable fortresses, at least up until this point in the series, Mega Man 7's. I think a reason for that is that every stage has a different theme all to its own. Kind of helps set themselves apart, especially from games like 5 and 6 that use the same theme for every stage. It's definitely my favorite piece of music in the game, whether the original or the remake, no doubt about that. But actually talking about the fortress itself, it's a lot harder to begin with, because you can see these jumps are spaced apart further than they were before. But it's the section after this with the rotating platforms for the first time. These spikes were not here in the original game, and I don't like the fact that they are here in this, because this is supposed to be a training section. And to be quite honest, the stage gets harder as you go, but with those there, I honestly think that's the hardest part of the level, because those platforms aren't exactly timed up as well as I'd like them to be. Kind of frustrating that a bit. Oh well. I'm going to be avoiding taking too many side paths. Like, I could have got that one up, but again, we're going to be doing this in one life anyway. We don't need it. What we are going to need is the super adapter, just to both save time and use as a makeshift safety net, because goodness knows, there were a couple of issues I had. Not in this section, so to speak, but the next set of rotating platforms. And besides, we're going to punch base in the face with this anyway later on. Well, you know, maybe it wasn't the best idea, because I accidentally double tap the jump button there. You gotta be careful with that. What you also have to be careful of is these floating enemies, which the last one in this room will be getting in the way tremendously. I don't think he's even there in the original game, but here he's right up the ladder, and goodness knows you get struck by him, that'll screw you up. Anyway, hey Base, what do you have to say? That blue robot again of all places. I found you, Faker. Faker? Shut up. More award-winning voice acting by yours truly. Anyway, we're going to take the Hyper Rocket Buster and punch Base in the face, like I said. And the good news is, with the homing ability of it, we can punch him in the face from all over the place. In fact, he's already down to one hit. Just gotta remember that you gotta charge it up all the way or it won't work. Goodbye. Round 1 goes to you, Mega Man, but I'll be back. Yeah, I think it works better when I actually say the real dialogue instead of trying to make up my own. Original dialogue, do not steal. That's me, alright. Anyway, the game's generous at the home stretch by giving me every kind of drop imaginable except a small health pellet, but who needs that? Anyway, it's on to Gutsman G, who is actually quite challenging in this game, although you aren't going to see it here. Just like in the original, the safe spot is right up against the wall. From here, you can either slash claw the debris that falls down, or you can just jump over it if it's too close to Gutsman. You can also take a few swipes at Gutsman's head if you want, it's no big deal. Overall, I'm kind of glad he doesn't use his grab attack, because, at least in this fight, because it goes on for a lot longer than it does in the SNES game. But he is done. And we're going to do a little new victory hop that I came up with. Y'all should try this sometime. Whew. Of the 3 stages, this was the hardest to record, mainly because I just find myself screwing up in the dumbest of ways. I only spent about, I think, 6 tries doing this. And that doesn't sound like too long until you realize that I screwed up at the very end of Wily 3, but that's a story for later on. For now, we're on to the least memorable of the 3 Wily stages. I mean, yeah, you understand that there's the turtle pattern and all that. Honestly, this level's just green, to me and all. The bomb sleigh, as you see, man, they take off a lot of damage. When I was looking up at my health after getting hit, I was like, did I get hit like multiple times there? I was like, no, it was just the one back in recording. I gotta noise crush it up because these Sniper Joes only take one hit from it, and goodness knows I can't stand fighting them. And they're usually just a hindrance to time here more than anything else. Oh, come on! I got hit by a Sniper Joe. And we're not even talking like a Mega Man 1 or Mega Man 2 Sniper Joe that are actually dangerous to avoid. We're talking about a Mega Man 7 one that shoots a whopping one bullet at you. Or does a victory hop pretending he's me or something. I mean, that's kind of weak. You know, I need to get that out of my head, because again, the next fight coming up, kind of difficult, because they changed it up just slightly, and that slight change is enough to throw me off from timing. Gee, I wonder who it's going to be this time. You know, I'm not even going to pretend to say anything here. We just beat him 3 minutes ago, and now we're going to beat him again. And his little dog, too. Or is it a wolf? Oh, jeez. The fact that I don't even know that's kind of lame right now. But anyway, base, kind of a problem the second time around, because there aren't the platforms that you can use to jump all over the place, which means he's going to have a much easier time of targeting you with his triple shot as he's hopping. The fist, though, is still easy enough to avoid. From the looks of things, you just need to get further away, but I just do not recognize that in time. Kind of frustrating that, but it's okay. He still shoots out charged buster shots the further on in the fight damage him. But he's done. Why? Why was I relegated to mid-boss status? You know, to be fair, he has a point. I mean, he's basically Proto Man on, I don't want to say steroids, but he has a better attack pattern than Proto Man does in this game. It's kind of weak that they didn't make him a in-boss. I mean, even Proto Man got to be Break Man in the stage, but Base can't get one of his own? Anyway, we're going to take every bit of health we can, just because I find myself making a lot of mistakes the longer into recordings we go. And it's 7 minutes long, you know, you don't want to screw this up. I think the fear of knowing that if I do die, I'd have to record the whole thing again is on my mind. It's healthy to have that in your head, just don't obsess over it at all. But we're coming up to the end of this stage again. It doesn't feel as long as it looks. I think that's a good thing. That tells me that the game's not being too, or wearing out its welcome. Some fortresses in Mega Man games do just that. I'm looking at you, Mega Man 2. But, here we go, onto the shutter. We're going to make the biggest mistake of our playthrough by pulling out Wild Coil, the greatest weapon known to man. And we get to fight the, oh man, what's his name? The Gamerizer, or Gamerizer. One of the two. We're going to charge up Wild Coil, but just like the Hyper Rocket Buster in the last stage, not enough. The one big change to this fight that you're going to see later on is that one method of dealing with this boss is now no longer an effective method, which is kind of sucks, because that would make this fight go so much faster. I believe it's going to be coming up this time, and if not this time, the next time you see the small turtles pass. Nope, it's this time. Where you see, usually, what you can do in the SNES game is wrap these suckers up in a bubble. Again, you can't do that, though. You would then push it into our boss friend, but you can't do that here, and that's kind of a bummer, because like I said, that takes off a lot on this guy, and I'm talking 8 bars of health on this turtle. Instead, I gotta fight the thing legitimately, and certainly not with Wild Coil, because that would be a major mistake. Also, the slides under him, you have to be a little more on time with them, since he's a larger target now. I'll flub that up again, I know that much. Also, the flames, if he shoots out too, you want to back up before going in again. No biggie. Thankfully, we're almost to the end of this fight. And I can only think of one way to finish this fight off. And even then I hop out of the way, not sure if it'll be enough to damage him, good enough to finish him off. Oh well. You can tell someone doesn't like using Wild Quill all that much. It's just such an odd weapon. Wily 3 is the last stop in our journey today, and this level basically screams to you, hey, do you have the super adapter? You should probably be using it. There's a branching path, and for the main run, I'm going to be taking the easier of those two paths, because, come on, we're 10 minutes in right now. I don't want to screw this up now. Honestly, you can make all of these jumps without the super adapter, but knowing how long the recording is at this moment, I'm basically saying to myself, okay, if I miss one jump, it's time to pull it out. And I missed the jump. But, fittingly, even when I put the super adapter on, as you're going to see, I activate it before I'm on the ground, and I get hit anyway. You know, some days you just can't win. Oh well. And, like I said, there were two parts where I thought the blue shield came in handy. Just like the main run, I'm pulling it out here. Oh, and one other thing about that part, if you hold right when you're sliding into that room, like you might, you would actually fall right on the spikes. That is the second big jerk move I think this game pulls in the Wily stages, along with the spikes in the opening bit of Wily 1. I do not like it. And if you're wanting to know, yes, I do think the original game is better than this. But this is a good recreation all the same. More than I can say for Rockman 8 FC anyway. But anyway, we're going to pull out the super adapter yet again. Kind of bringing the super back into this 8-bit game. Now, I'm actually wondering if they named it the super adapter just because of the system it's on. And before you say no, just remember this is the company that did name a group of robots after a system in the Genesis/Mega Core unit. Let's just stop worrying about that and focus more on staying up top here, because it's definitely the way to go. Bottom path has a lot more spikes that come into play, even right at the start, as you can see down there. I mean, yes, there are a huge spike bed area up ahead here, like with this and the disappearing blocks, but see, we have a trump card for this, and it's called Rush Jet. I'm not going to be fooling around with this bit. No. And that's sort of my attitude when I play these games. I'll play it, I don't want to say legitimately, but I'll play it without using tools in the main stages, but when it comes to Fortress time, I'm going to use everything at my disposal. And we got another Stegosaurus that I'm going to take out super quick because my trigger finger is itching to get to this guy, Floating Demon Head. In my last recording right before this, he took me out. I was a little ticked off. Hanya Ned. What a weird name. Oh, excuse me, Hanya Ned squared. Even weirder. The one thing about this fight that's a little different is that you can't slide into Noise Crush, which is kind of a bummer because that was my strategy when I played the SNES title. I will say, though, that you can still use Noise Crush as a charged Mega Buster shot, because looking at the footage here, it looks like a fully charged blast only does 1 bar of damage in this title. That's a bit of a shame. And Slash Claw does the one thing I don't really like doing against this boss, and that's getting close to him. Because you never know how many, or how few missiles he's going to shoot out, and that can mess you up. And it just did for me right there. Because sometimes he can actually pop you 3 times with that laser, and that's what screwed me up in the last recording. But again, though, I really should have been thinking about using Noise Crush earlier in the fight than I am. At this point, I'm probably not thinking, because again, we're talking about nearly a half hour playing Mega Man straight and worrying about not dying. And this is one of the safest strategies you can do, just stay at the edge of the room and fire away with your buster when his head drops down. All things considered, though, this run went pretty well. I didn't struggle against every boss, because I did have another run where I was super successful. Or, excuse me, another run that was successful, but I screwed up on just about every boss. And Ned is dead. And even better, he's going to, what I find funny here is he looks up at us as we're doing our victory hops. But yeah, that was a long journey, but we made it through. Whew. There is an alternate path, however, to Wily 3, and we're going to show it off right now. Taking the plunge, you want to move just to the left to avoid the deadly part of this descent. You also have to be careful with this one jump up ahead here. Jump too high, you know what's going to happen. Jump not far enough, well, the same thing you know is going to happen. After that, we get a crab from Burstman stage. He's easily dealt with, just as he was before. And really, from here on out, the alternate path is pretty simple. For the ascent, though, you want to make sure that you don't hang on the left like you did when this section occurred in Burstman stage, because the mines have now been replaced by floating spikes, and those are never any fun. There is a health pellet at the top, and I decided why not show off how to get it, although I think everybody knows, you just do a quick little hop up, and there you go. And once we climb out of the water, we know that the top path holds an E-tank, because we saw it up here before. Take my little victory hop, celebrate, because we are finally done with this video. Whew! 3 stages down and 1 to go. Next time will be the final time, and I will see you there. Why does this video still have 30 seconds? Oh. Do we really have to show this? I mean, this really isn't one of my finer moments. Yeah, that grab attack. This is me making it to the lower path in the alternate take. I told you the top path was easier. Yep.